Hello everyone, welcome to the SQL Complete course. I'm really happy to have you here. If you want to learn SQL from the very beginning and build a strong foundation, you've come to the right place. In this course, we'll cover everything from the basics to advanced SQL concepts with simple explanations, practical examples, and hands-on practice. Whether you're a student, a job seeker, or an aspiring software developer, this course will help you understand SQL step by step. So let's begin our SQL learning journey. Before we dive into SQL, let's take a quick look at what you'll learn in this video. We'll begin with a brief introduction to SQL and understand why it is such an important skill. Next, we'll learn what SQL is and what a database is. Then, we'll explore where SQL is used in the real world and look at some of the most popular database management systems. We'll also understand what SQL can do with practical examples. Finally, we'll summarize everything we've learned in this lesson. So, let's get started. Now, before we understand what SQL is, let's first understand why it is important. Every day, we use applications like online banking, shopping websites, social media platforms, and hospital management systems. These applications handle a huge amount of data every second. To store, organize, and manage this data efficiently, they use databases. And to communicate with those databases, we use SQL. SQL is one of the most important skills for software developers, data analysts, and database administrators. It is widely used across industries and is an essential technology for building modern applications. In this course, we'll learn SQL step by step with simple explanations and practical examples. So let's begin our journey into the world of SQL. Now that we've understood the importance of SQL, let's answer the most important question. What is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is the standard language used to communicate with relational databases. Think of SQL as a language that allows us to talk to a database. Whenever we want to add new information, search for existing data, update records, or remove unwanted data, we use SQL commands. For example, if a student joins a college, SQL can store the student's details in the database. If the college wants to find that student's record later, SQL can retrieve it within seconds. In simple terms, SQL helps us store, retrieve, update, and delete data efficiently. These are the fundamental operations that make SQL an essential skill for every software developer. In the upcoming videos, we'll learn each of these operations step by step with practical examples. Now that we've seen the challenges of managing data without SQL, let's see how SQL makes everything much easier. Let's first imagine a world without SQL. Suppose a company stores millions of customer records. If someone wants to find just one customer's information, they would have to search through thousands or even millions of records manually. Updating information would also be difficult, and managing such a large amount of data would take a lot of time and effort. As the amount of data grows, the process becomes even more complicated. This is why managing data without SQL is slow, inefficient, and prone to errors. Now let's see how SQL solves these problems. With SQL, we can search for information in just a few seconds. We can insert new records, update existing data, delete unnecessary information, and retrieve exactly what we need with simple queries. SQL makes database management fast, accurate, and efficient. That's why almost every modern application, from banking systems to online shopping websites, uses SQL to manage its data. Now that we understand why SQL is important, let's learn what a database is. A database is simply an organized collection of data. It stores information in a structured way, making it easy to access, update, and manage whenever needed. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a college that has thousands of students. Instead of keeping all the student details on paper, the college stores information such as student names, roll numbers, marks, and contact details in a database. Whenever the college needs a student's information, it can retrieve it quickly and accurately. In the same way, banks, hospitals, shopping websites, and social media platforms use databases to store and manage millions of records every day. In simple words, a database helps us store data in an organized manner so that it can be easily searched, updated, and maintained. Now that we know what SQL is and what a database is, let's explore where SQL is used in the real world. SQL is used in almost every industry because almost every organization needs to store and manage data. In the banking sector, SQL is used to manage customer accounts and transactions. E-commerce websites use SQL to store product information, customer details, and order history. Hospitals use SQL to maintain patient records, doctor information, and appointment schedules. Schools and colleges use SQL to manage student details, attendance, and examination results. Even social media platforms use SQL to store user profiles, posts, comments, and messages. As you can see, SQL is everywhere. If an application stores data, there's a good chance SQL is working behind the scene. So far, we've learned about SQL and databases. Now let's look at some of the most popular database management systems, also known as DBMS. A DBMS is software that helps us create, store, organize, and manage databases efficiently. Some of the most popular database management systems are MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle Database, Microsoft SQL Server, and SQLite. Each of these database systems has its own features and is used in different types of applications and organizations. In this course, we'll be using MySQL because it's free, beginner-friendly, and one of the most widely used database systems in the software industry. Don't worry if these names are new to you. We'll focus on MySQL first and learn everything step by step. Now that we've learned about database management systems, let's see what SQL can actually do. SQL provides a powerful set of commands to manage data in a database. Using SQL, we can create new databases and tables to organize our data. We can insert new records, retrieve the information we need, update existing records whenever changes are required, and delete data that is no longer useful. These are the basic operations that you'll use in almost every SQL project. In the upcoming videos, we'll learn each of these operations with practical examples and write real SQL queries together. Now let's connect everything we've learned with a real-world example. Imagine you're shopping on an online store. You search for a product, add it to your cart, and place an order. Behind the scenes, SQL is working continuously. It retrieves product information, stores your order details, updates the inventory, and saves your payment information in the database. The same happens in banks, hospitals, schools, and social media platforms. Every time you use these applications, SQL helps manage and organize the data efficiently. This is why SQL is one of the most important technologies in modern software development. It works silently in the background, making our everyday digital experiences smooth and reliable. Before we end this video, let's quickly review what we've learned today. We started by understanding the importance of SQL and why it is used in modern applications. Then we learned that SQL stands for Structured Query Language and is used to communicate with relational databases. We also discussed what a database is, where SQL is used in the real world, and explored some of the most popular database management systems. Finally, we learned the basic operations that SQL can perform, such as creating databases, inserting data, retrieving information, updating records, and deleting data. These concepts form the foundation of SQL, and understanding them will make it much easier to learn SQL commands in the upcoming lessons. In our next video, we'll install MySQL and MySQL Workbench, and then we'll write our very first SQL queries together. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found this lesson helpful. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more SQL tutorials. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy learning!
वीडियोस बनाने हैं, फिल्मोरा है ना?